Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island Cast. I am Chris Phelps and my co-host and good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. It's been an emotional one tonight, but I am going to try and hold it together for this episode.
Well, Dave, that's a lot better than the housemates did anyway, so that's what you do, because there was more tissue on there and it was a great advert for Kleenex, I think. There's that much going on. Some of it looked like crocodile tears, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit. But first, Dave, first of all, the absolute shock at Ladbrokes of being like 1,000,000 to 1 on of George and Lucie being booted out, which was no cliffhanger whatsoever, was it, to be fair?
It wasn't. I mean, even if we didn't know that Amy had left from the papers, that we would have thought the voting would go that way. And I guess what's starting to irritate me a little bit, Chris, if I'm honest, is there's nothing about the actual couples in this villa. It's all about just individual friendships and individual people. So, you know, the majority went to save Amy and Curtis. The only one who didn't was Maura, who voted basically because she wanted to keep Lucie in, you know, but she was going to sacrifice the guy who she was trying to couple up, Curtis. So, I mean, anything out of those little side discussions? I think there were a few surprises in those discussions, to be honest. Anything that caught your eye?
Yeah, again, Dave, Maura is a fucking nut job. Definitely Dory. She just is unreal, isn't she? She just... She must be a psychologist's dream and a body language expert's dream, because what she portrays and says at times... 5 minutes later, is fucking not what she just said. I just do not get her one bit. Curtis, I think the problem is she'd already alluded to and had the speech with Amy. So she's prepared to, she's probably good at poker, Dave. She's very prepared to sort of try and get that full house or whatever, royal flush you call it, because it's like, well, if Curtis is gone, I'll get with someone else. She's not daft, Dave. There's, for some reason, there's just something there with her where she really analyses stuff. And I think she pretends she's not bothered, but she is. She's fucking very, very clever, but just strange, completely strange. I know Lucie and her are mates, but it was just weird. But I was feeling sorry, Dave. Sorry, before we go on to that, he's over as well. But I saw what your thoughts on Maura?
Well, I completely agree with Maura. I mean, ultimately, she's decided that a friendship with Lucie is more important than getting together with Curtis. Now, I'm going to defend her slightly from what you've said there, because I don't believe it really, but let's presume that she is genuine and she wants to go out with Curtis. What we've seen leading up to that is as soon as she tries to spend any time with him at all, the eyes are burning into the back of their heads, aren't they? You know, they basically can't do anything. And she knows that Amy's destroyed by this breakup. And those feelings just won't go away very quickly. So she's probably, you know, doing something fairly pragmatic there and just saying, look, I kind of want to get with this guy, but actually while Amy's around, I don't have a chance in doing it. So I think I'm not that surprised she's voted to keep Lucie in there.
It's just strange, isn't it? Because I don't know. She's just one of them brilliant characters for the show, I think, to be honest, Dave, that just don't give a flying fuck. And fair dues to her, because I'm sure her opinion on people's going to change and she's going to flip-flop from Curtis and whoever. I'd be interested to see, out of this as an experiment, how sincere she was to Curtis now Amy's gone. Was it to piss Amy off? Was it to stay in? Because now she's got a free run at him. You'll see if she actually genuinely likes him, Dave. And if she suddenly goes, oh, I'm not feeling it with Curtis, then you straight away you're like, well, you were talking bullshit to play the game. And can you forgive her for that? You probably can, because it is Love Island. At the end of the day, it makes it more interesting. But yeah, I'm interested to see if that does develop further.
Yeah, possibly. Now, we've just touched on Ovi there. I thought that was really interesting. You say about Maura not giving a fuck about anyone. Anna just absolutely, she just manages to irritate me just a bit more each episode. So it was very, very clear, Anna, as part of that original group, basically she was going to vote for Curtis and Amy. Hands down. She didn't really feel it with Lucy. Lucy had been ostracized pretty much by those original girls, and George, is just part of the furniture, literally part of the furniture. But Ovi seemed to put up a bit of a fight for George, and he's basically saying, look, I've come in here, the woman who I've came here with has dumped me, and basically if you get rid of George, I'm completely isolated, I'm on my own, you can't do this to me. And Anna just does not give a fuck, and basically in a little pre-dumping speech, she's saying, oh, well, people will miss this couple. The villa will really miss this couple if they go. But the other couple, one of the blokes is particularly close to one of these blokes. And it just all was very unnecessary for me. And then I saw what I didn't think I'd see, which is Ovi seemingly kind of breaking down and shedding a bit of a tear there. I mean, what did you make to that whole interaction?
I think two things, as always, and we've called this quite a few times now, we're at episode 31, is there's obviously loads of material they can't use, because I didn't even realise they had a good relationship, Ovi and George. I know they were stood around and sat together now and again, but we've not really seen this sort of bromance that we've seen with Curtis and Tommy. That shows, again, maybe there is something there with them, and maybe George isn't, because he just looks like you're talking to a fucking door, doesn't he, at the moment? There's nothing comes back from the poor lad. I'm taking the mick yesterday about Ivan Drago and stuff, but it's online about him. They've not showed him at all, and Ovi's the same. Ovi looked like this dead serious athlete, an absolute, a master to his art, someone who's so focused, and then when you see him properly, he's one of the coolest guys in there. He dresses cool. He's dancing. He's singing. He tells it how it is. He don't mess about. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. And made me pissed was when she said, "We've made a decision," and he's there. He's head in his hands, crying. I don't think we have, Anna. I think you've got your own fucking way again, because it made no sense. One thing I would call out about this whole scenario with Amy, and we'll get on to Amy obviously, is we know she left, right? I think in her head, what she did the next day was basically a very clever way of going, fuck you to Curtis and fuck you to Lucy. Because if she knew she was going, why didn't she stand up then and go? Now, she might have been taking the chance, the Russian roulette chance of, well, I think we're going to get voted out because we're not a couple. That could have been in her mind, and genuinely, I'd like to think that. But in the back of mind, the cynicism in me's thinking, I think she knows. She's hoping Lucy goes, then she can leave, and then Curtis is sort of left on his own and knackered now, sort of thing, to see if he was being genuine, the way he was saying about being friends and that. So I've still got something there to say there's just a little bit of a game played by Amy. And I'm not saying I don't blame her, but it just seemed that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not having that. She's thinking about Amy. I mean, it was a different day, wasn't it? Obviously, we just came into it after the advert break, but the whole dumping from the villa was in the night time. You can still have a lot of thoughts and process your thoughts throughout the night and in the morning. And it was at some point that next day, wasn't it, where she pulled Curtis for a chat to say she's going. So I can just believe, she's in there. She's part of this whole exercise. That's what she's there for. So she has to go through it. But she's probably sat there thinking, you know what? I don't actually know if I want to stay or if I want them to vote me off. And that's what she's possibly thinking. And then, as they've dispersed from the fire pit, she's thinking, should I be here? And can I actually see myself getting on, or what's my purpose here anymore? So I think it's more of a timing thing. I think, she'd have been gutted probably if she'd have been voted off. But, like I say, she's probably thought after, I wouldn't have really cared, really.
You could be right. Look, I could be just being completely Mr. Cynic. I just think the way things have played out, her whole personality has changed over the last couple of days. Maybe because she was determined to leave, I don't know. But I've got a theory, Dave, that I want to get into when we talk about Amy, actually. I really do.
Well, let's get into it then, because obviously she'd pulled Curtis for a chat, hadn't she? And I thought, I mean, come on, Chris, you must have been welling up a little bit there.
I wasn't welling up, Dave, because I didn't like the girl, but I've got to give her 100% respect, because I genuinely think, whether it's a game or not, she come across really well. She spoke really well. She made Curtis feel like an absolute see you next Tuesday. And he got what he deserved. He got the speech that he should have got when she wasn't strong enough. And it seemed to me like she'd had some sort of counselling, Dave, that we may have seen off camera, because that way she was speaking, as somebody who's dealt and studied counselling on a very low level and just, trying to help.
You studied fucking everything, haven't you? You sure you've just not done some casual Googling?
I've not got qualifications on it, but I like to think that I'm a good ear to listen to help people and stuff as I've got older. So I've read books and things like that, and a lot of the stuff that she says, the affirmation, the way she speaks, was very much like she. And I like that because of what's happened in the media over the last few series with ex-contestants, a couple of them obviously tragically losing their lives because of the aftermath. She needed that more than anyone because she looked so much on edge. So I applaud them if that's what they've done, and I do believe that's what it was. The one thing I would say is, in my head, now, Dave, I did say while we were watching the show tonight that Chris the Cynic has come out. Now, what would be the most perfect ending to this absolute tragedy is good old Curtis, baby, getting up there in front of the whole house going, right, everyone, I'm really sorry. I've made a big mistake. I'm going to go and get my woman. And he leaves the villa, and I'm still speaking like him or trying to, and he leaves the villa to go and fall madly in love with Amy, and he doesn't care about the money. And that would get them back on side with all the magazine deals, and would also be the fairy tale that Love Island hasn't had this year because it's just plodded along. That's exactly what I'm thinking in my head, that between now and the end, he may just leave and go, I've made a terrible mistake. I need to speak to Amy. And he goes, and that would be the perfect ending to this mess that he's put her in.
Maybe, and if that is in his head and that's what he plans to do, then he should give up ballroom dancing and go and be an actor, because his reaction and Amy's reaction there was not like soap opera acting, was it?
No.
It looked genuine.
No, it did look genuine. I'm not slating him. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is the way Amy did it. Yeah, me and Sam were watching it tonight, and we both looked at each other like, I feel really bad now. I did genuinely feel for the girl, and I think she did everything right. She took the power back off him because of the way he felt. You go, girl. You know what I mean? I'm there, Dave. I'm with her on this. As much as I don't like her, I'm with her. And I think Curtis is going to be made to feel like shit now. And I think you may see some of the housemates possibly turning on him.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I thought, like you, I thought she spoke really well. She wasn't reading off her phone. So, it was genuine. It felt it went a little bit too far. And the reason it is, Chris, is one of the things that irritate me is when people way over exaggerate things. So when she said to him, she says, all I've ever wanted is for you to be happy. It's like, all right, come on, it's too far now. Really? All you've ever wanted? Since I was a little girl, all I want to do is make Curtis happy. And, it bugs me, the first night in the villa, all she wanted to do was to get her sexy pajamas on for Anton. So, in this last 4 weeks, she's grown up, those feelings. I can believe that she's fallen in love with him and it's not ended well. So for herself, she needs to get out, or she needed to get out the villa. And also, it's going to benefit Curtis potentially as well. So he can, leave. But I thought she spoke well, but it was a little bit far to make it sound like this completely selfless thing that, it's got nothing to do with her at all. It's all about Curtis and making him happy.
It's the first thing, and obviously Asa, who's been a guest on the show plenty of times, obviously he was on yesterday's show, is he said it and called it and was saying tonight, I just call bullshit. I call bullshit. It's all for the cameras. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of the cameras. I understand what you're saying, and I'm doing the worst for calling him out. But with you, I don't believe that wasn't genuine. I just think she's very clever the way she worded it. And he'll get what he fucking deserves at the end of the day, Dave. So for me, perfect ending to watch her time in the villa. If it's genuine, then, go for it. Absolutely perfect for her.
And do we think that now him and Maura's got a free run at it? I mean, I know we touched on it a little bit before, but it seems the villa don't really see anything between those two either. So, I mean, do you think they've got any chance there? No,
and I think it's pointless now, anybody recoupling, for the simple reason that Tommy and Molly May have got it boxed off. It doesn't matter. There's still going to be fans of Amy who will not like Curtis, and there's plenty of fans who like Maura and don't like her. So I don't see any benefit, to be honest.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, what do you reckon if, like, Ovi and Amber, say, coupled up, you reckon they could have a late run on it?
Yeah, they could, you're right, because Ovi is a really, really nice guy. And I think despite Amber, it's Anna who drags her in and drags her down. I'm sticking to that. I'm sticking to that completely. I genuinely believe that. So, yeah, I think Ovi could be another Tommy and drag them to the final. And he deserves to be in there. He's a really, really top guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. But, I mean, for all the downers in this episode, and it was a pretty emotional one, I do have to say one of the things that's cheered me up right at the end there is old starving Marvin going across to pulling Anton for some tips on how to try and chat up Amber. No, to be fair, and I did tweet out tonight, I was like, oh, you are going to the worst person in the villa, surely. The guy who's not had any luck whatsoever. But to be fair to Anton, he pretty much called it. He was being awkward and saying, all the things he expected Amber to say. And then, oh, God, it was so excruciating to watch when he actually pulled her for a chat and she was just so uninterested. And he was like, again, we haven't seen a good bit of Brent, have we, for a while? But the way Marvin was stumbling across his words there, he was saying, I don't like you yet. It's what, you don't like us? It was just, it was brilliant, Chris. Some of my favourite moments just right in that scene there.
It was, because I think Marvin just thought, I'm out the game here. I need to do something. He'd sort of slated Maura in the episode a little bit. He's a non-character for me, Dave. He's just a filler character they've got in, and he's on desperation mode at the moment. But again, it's fantastic TV. Fantastic TV.
I admire his confidence. Like, it just comes off as so tactical, doesn't it? It's like, oh, look, Amber's single. Yeah, I caught your eye, and she can be really sharp, can't she? She's saying, well, you didn't really do this in Casa Amor, so why are you doing it now? So it was pretty funny.
No, it was good. And we got 2 new housemates as well, Dave, didn't we?
Well, we got a sneak preview, didn't we, that they're going to come in. Oh, Anton, he's got his little mouth spray there, and he's straight at it, so... I don't know if him and Bella are actually that strong, so he's going to be up for it. The guy, I mean, I don't know how he gets his hair that tall. I thought Curtis had some pretty tall hair, but this guy's gone up a level. So, yeah, it'd be interesting what they do. I mean, like you say, it feels like we can see the end in sight now. And so it's like, well, do they need to bring... What is a new couple going to bring to it? But, I mean, what I would just say... Let's come back to the couples. Did you notice how Michael was, watching Marvin and Amber like a hawk?
Yeah.
And commenting on, oh, look, she sat far away from him kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think Michael and Amber's genuinely dead?
No. I don't like that Joanna now, I'll be honest. I just think she seems all right. tyrant, doesn't she? I don't know. She
comes off worse, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does
these
now.
Last few days.
I'm conscious of that as well, because it's like I'm not sticking up for the guys or Michael. I think Michael's a bellend, to be honest. He's a good guy, but he seems to have just lost his way completely over the last few weeks. And she might be Joanna, but she's not coming across well. She's become very, very catty over the. I know that fits in well with Anna and stuff, but the lads are no shrinking violets, Dave. There's plenty of them have dropped some bollocks in there and been called out quite rightly by us. But, yeah, I think that's there. I think there's something there. And I think Michael may regret it when he comes out of the villa.
Yeah, I certainly think you were talking about the redemption. If Curtis just, maybe tomorrow or something, he just takes his glasses off as he likes to do and says, no, I'm going to go and I'm going to chase Amy out to the airport or something like that. Maybe that would be a redemption. But, I mean, if Michael and Amber coupled up, and it has to be the mother of all apologies, because again, I still don't think he's really apologised for being a dick. He's apologised for the recoupling, but not for being a complete dick. If they were to get back together, then maybe they could challenge Tommy and Molly May. But I don't know. I'd say there's a 20 to 30% chance.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, Dave, as they said in Godfather 3, Michael Corleone said, just as I'm getting out, they dragged me back in. We thought this was the end of the Love Island cast in a couple of weeks, Dave, but I've got breaking news for you, my friend.
Go on.
Love Island USA started last night over in the States. Now, I don't know where we're going to find it or what TV channel it's going to be on, Dave, but I am all over that, my friend, and I'm hoping and praying that we can find it so we can watch it. So I think we need to invest in this, Dave. It's going to be, obviously, time-wise, it's going to be a bit of a pain. But what I want to know is if anybody out there who listens to us would be interested in us podcasting. Obviously, I'm not even spoken to you about this, Dave. So
I know, he's just throwing this at me tonight. So, yeah, email us in. And
Dave's going to email me as well and tell me what a wank I am. but genuinely, I'd be interested to see some of our United States listeners, and we have got a lot of people from America and Canada, if they would be interested, and our Australian listeners, because I keep mentioning Love Island Australia, which I absolutely loved coincidentally last year. I keep mentioning it. But the USA one intrigues me because a lot of the USA characters and characteristics are very, very outgoing. I think we may see more twists on that than anything. So if you're interested, contact us on Twitter at Love Island Cast, or if you want to email us, the Love Island Cast @gmail.com. And if you do like the show, drop us a 5-star review on your podcast catcher, and we appreciate all feedback, guys. So yeah, a little bit of market research if you would be interested. Right, Dave? So it's at that time again where we go. Big thanks as always, my friend. Have you got anything to throw at us before we go?
So I'm going to finish off and say, I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Goodbye.